welcome back to another fast-paced edition of Pit Stop. Get your driving gear on as we go for a race against the time. The May 6-7 weekend was full of firsts. Let's start off with the first round of the SCCA Trans Am Championship at the Phoenix International Raceway, 11-turn, 1.5-mile oval road course, Saturday, May 6th. A 67-lap event. The top 5 in qualifying this year will be inverted. Tommy Kendall started 5th, Ron Fellows 4th. Dino Crescentini was on the pole, and Boris Said the 3rd was alongside on the outside of the front row. The field comes around for the start of the race, picking up the green flag under the lights at PIR. The field dives into turn 1 with Dino Crescentini leading. On board with Ron Fellows looking at Kendall as a twist through the infield on the first lap. Kendall in second spot. Later on, Ron Fellows moves past Crescentini, taking over the second spot. And Ron continues to run up front. In progressing, he challenges for the lead later on. Night racing, a spectacular sight as raw fuel ignites out of the exhaust. Jamie Gallus drives into turn 1. And Dino Crescentini, again the center of attention as he punts Jamie off the track. The two drivers are out of the race.
Jamie Gallus did get his car back around to the pits just a moment ago. They were restrapping him into the car while they looked at the left front. They were hoping it was just a tire problem. Obviously more than that, and you're out of the race. What happened over there?
Well, we had a good restart. I got by the 2 car, and then he'd been blocking, well, not the 2 car, but Dino Crescentini, I believe. He'd been blocking Boris all day long and really being pretty dirty with him, I felt, and Boris was being real fair. I went down the inside of him, and we got together a little bit, but everything was fine. And we came up here, up the front straightaway. We go into turn 1, and out of nowhere, you know, he just nailed me. I didn't really see what happened.
Yes, the action was close, real close at times in typical Trans Am fashion. Ron Fellows chasing Tom Kendall for the lead. Now the race was slowed several times for caution. Why? Not for crashes, but sandstorms coming across the track. Take a look at this. As you can see, it got very heavy. How's that on the engine? Okay, back to action. Ron Fellows takes the lead, but wait, no! Kendall down low. They accelerate side by side. Off the corner, side by side for the lead. Kendall has the advantage and takes back top spot. That's as close as Fellows would get. Nearing the end, Ron in 3rd. Watch the top of your screen. Ron gets turned around by Brian Simo. Brian, the number 22 Mustang, now getting corrected. And there is Ron Fellows sitting into the side of the track, and Simo goes by. Brian takes off, leaving Fellows. And there is Ron Fellows now getting underway. Ron will continue on with a charge from the back of the field. He'll end up 11th, crossing the line. A tough break for Ron Fellows, looking at a top 3 finish. Meanwhile, at the head of the pack for the checker flag, Bryce Cobb, the rookie, takes the Highway Master Chevy Camaro to victory lane, and the crew is happy. Now, here's the top 5 from the Trans Am race. Way to go, rookie. A first-time runner of Trans Am, but a solid background of prototype and endurance racing. Ray Kong's post-race disqualification moved Ron Fellows into the top 10. Here are the points. Even Winston Cup saw first. The good old boys were in the wine region of Sonoma, California for the running of the Save Mart Supermarket 300 at Sears Point. Dale Earnhardt passed Mark Martin in the closing laps to go on to be the first to see the checkered flag for his 65th career win. A first for Earnhardt, as he has never won on a road course before. How badly do you think he wants the 500 now? All right, let's take a look at the top 5. Mark Martin moves past Jeff Gordon for 2nd place. Still with Winston Cup, how about that chatter that has Earnhardt interested in testing an IndyCar? I think this guy loves to rub fenders a little bit too much. He might find himself sunny side down in an IndyCar. But kidding aside, I'd love to see it. I think he would do a great job. Now, speaking about IndyCars, It looks so far that Paul Tracy's predictions about a Menard Lola being on the pole may be true. Our Lyondike and Scott Brayton, so far as of Thursday, May 11th, are the fastest. Here are the practice times from the Speedway. 8 drivers have achieved 230-plus miles an hour, including rookie Andre Ribeiro. Penske's, are they sandbagging? I don't know, 224 so far. Turning our thoughts to IMSA and the recovery of Jeremy Dale, Fabrizio Barbazza, and Steve Malin. All 3 drivers continue to show positive signs of recovery, with the prognosis looking very good. Now here's some exciting news. Imperial Oil Limited and the International Motorsports Association announced on May 2nd the formulation of the Esso Canadian Cup. This award, along with $10,000 US, will go to the Exxon World Sports Car or Exxon Supreme GT driver, accumulating the most combined points from the 2 Canadian venues. They are the Moosehead Grand Prix in Halifax, May 21st, and the Motorsport 500 on August 13th. All right, I think it's time we change gears and steer ourselves back over to Darrell Leatherdale's shop as we continue on with the TTR modified build-up. If you recall, last week, Darrell had just finished talking about the rear end of the car, the differential, and now we'll move forward. So after you've got the rear end set, then you're working towards the front now, back to the engine. And here we are.
Yep.
Where's it going to sit?
Well, basically after, they've put a rule on us, I'm not exactly sure of the correct figure, but after the rear end's in, we've got a limit between our front of the rear end housing to where the flywheel sits. And it's real short, so not like, you know, a normal sportsman car that I've run where the engine is actually almost like a mid-engine. The engine sits in here, and the rad sits actually in behind this front cross member, where normally it would be a way up front up here.
Well, a lot of good protection for the rad then.
Yeah, as far as you know, going through a couple rads a year, I don't think you're going to see it. If you do, you're going to be fixing a lot more than just a rad.
Do you have any idea what that's going to do for the handling characteristics of the car you're normally accustomed to driving?
It's going to be a lot better. It's going to really work to our advantage, because what you're doing is you're taking a lot of weight off the front and bringing it further back on the car to gain a lot more rear weight.
Now, do you have to compensate, though, when you start hanging the suspension for the front end? Do you have to compensate so you can get that front end biting again?
Yeah, that's what I've kicked around the idea too. A lot of these other chassis designs that I've seen, some of them are even bringing the battery and putting it up front just because you're getting too much rear weight.
Well, we'll see all that happen as well down the road when we get into the hanging of the suspension components. So your engine is set pretty far back in this chassis. Interesting. And that's the idea. You have to get your rear end in first so you can follow the drive shaft in a straight line and know where everything is.
That's right.
What about the engine itself? How do you get that anchored in here in place so you can start welding brackets and getting it positioned?
I just bring down what I call like a dummy engine. It's a bare block. There's no heads or anything like that on it. I bolt a transmission on it, figure out exactly where it's got to sit this way. I think we're allowed moving the engine 1 inch towards the left. And from there, it's just a matter of just bracing it from underneath to hold it in the chassis in the right spot and just making up some mounts for it.
Now, normally in a Camaro front end, wouldn't the engine mounts be located on here?
Yeah, that's correct. But now they'll, one I think comes off somewhere in here. So it's really set back a long ways. It's not nothing that, that I've been accustomed to, but I'm sure we can build it.
What do you have to worry about as far as your torque goes? Do you build those bars in a specific way to absorb?
Yeah, that's right. It's basically like a lot of the rest of the car. It's done on triangulation, where you gain a lot of strength taking a bar and putting it on an angle, whereas you would just on a straight butt to it.
Now, these bends in here, difficult to achieve?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of work. The main thing is to keep everything sitting level. When you're it's easy to put one bend in it and just kink it down and weld it, but as far as, like you might notice here, this bar here, okay, that's all one bar. It goes right from the front point here, and if you follow it all the way back, it actually goes all the way around. So
you're right. Actually, to me, that bar looks as if it ends right here.
Yeah, that's right. So to keep it all at one level, it takes a little bit of time.
I didn't notice that when we were looking at this before.
Yeah.
Is there any specific way that a roll cage should be anchored to the chassis? Is there a safety design in which that you work with?
Yeah, a lot of it you take and like drill a hole in the frame rail here.
Down in the bottom rail?
Yeah, on the top of this frame rail, and sink it down into the frame. So it's not just sitting up on top. So you're actually gaining a lot of strength, so you can't push it out of the frame rail if it does get hit.
Could you run a straight bar down here instead of, looks like what you've done here, you've got a cut here and a cut there, welding them onto this this parallel bar to the bottom of the chassis?
See, what I've tried to do is, if you can take as many bars from the front and bring it to the back all in one piece, you're going to save on welds. Okay, you're going to gain a lot of strength that way.
I see. I thought that maybe the roll cage would have been stronger if it had a solid connection right down to the bottom rail.
No, it won't matter that way because it just can't go anywhere in here. But the big thing is to bring everything to one point. You see, if I had brought this bar, up here somewhere, and if it did, the car did happen to roll over, it's more likely going to bend down here because there's no support underneath it.
Now you've just got a little spot weld right on this piece here. Is that what you do? You go through and just spot weld everything into place, and then when you know you're there, you solidly put it in.
Yeah, you tack everything on, keep levels on everything. I've got a big level that I run across the frame rails just to make sure that your clamps go around, tighten them, just to make sure nothing has moved, that everything's still sitting square.
What about crash factor? Is that designed in here to pick a point where you can cut off and rebuild?
Yeah, that'll be right. I'll more or less design that when I get some bars in the front here.
Okay.
But yeah, usually when you're cutting, try and keep it so that none of this frame rail, like obviously sometimes you're going to get where your frame rail is going to bend, but if you can keep it so that everything bends ahead of this point,
right?
Usually it makes it a lot easier if you do have to reclip the car.
And that's when you hear the term replace the front clip. You're talking about this Camaro
That's
front
right.
end.
It's just the front Camaro stub. You just take and cut it off there. You put it back on this on the plate on the jig work. You just take and literally cut it there and replace it with another one.
What's a rear clip?
Rear clip is just from basically your pivot point here back. A lot of the time.
Right from that trailing arm point again.
Sometimes a lot of the time they don't bend that far. I've noticed on an underslung car they usually don't bend past this weld here. Most of the time, it's just that back rear section there that you have to cut off.
Daryl, you've showed us a lot of the tubing and like that one rail that wraps literally right around the car. This is where it comes from.
Yeah, this is, it's just an economical way of bending your roll bar tubing.
Is this really the only way that you can get the proper bends without pinching the tubing?
Yeah.
There's no other.
There is.
Methods?
I've heard of people taking and filling them with sand, heating them up. But there you go again. You're using heat on it, sand. You end up with kinks, and it's not done proper. So it's just an economical way of bending it. There's the hydraulic benders, but they cost a lot of money. So this is a great outfit for the backyard. The person that's going to build a roll cage.
So how does it work exactly?
It's actually quite simple. It's just basically done on a ratchet. You can buy all kinds of different size dies. This is 1 3/4 because that's pretty well standard to what we, a roll cage consists of.
Okay.
You just you feed your tubing through here, through this little U-shaped piece here, and it's simple. You just put your ratchet on, and just when you run out of length that way, you just put another tooth on it. And you can actually do a little over 90-degree bend with this die.
Now you obviously did that quite simply. There was no tube in there, but is it really that effortless?
Yeah. Well, it is and it isn't. You have to. There's a 4-foot piece of pipe that you put on the end of this, just for extra leverage. But it takes a bit of work. But it's really, once you get the hang of it, it's simple to use.
I've heard of different types of steel. I've heard of chromoly and mild steels. What type of steel do you use?
This is just mild steel.
Now, on a mild steel tubing, does it bend right to the point that you want and you stop, or do you have to bend beyond?
You actually have to go a little bit beyond, and then it will come back.
Do you hold it in that position for any length of time, or just once and that's it, as long as you go beyond?
Yeah, that's pretty well.
Now, if you've gone too far, you've got a scrap piece of metal on your hand?
No, you can't bend back with this. A lot of the time, I've done it before. You bend too far, and it's simple. I just put it under the edge of the plate, and you can just pull back on it with some leverage. And
doesn't that crimp the metal in any way? Okay.
No.
Otherwise, you can save it for possible use on
someplace else. Yeah.
Well, great. I'm looking forward to continuing on with the next segments of this build-up.
Yep.
Where are we going from here next?
Lunch.
Lunch? Okay, sounds good to me. Thanks, Daryl.
You're welcome.
Daryl, thanks for lunch. Daryl was not at last weekend's practice at the Mosport International Speedway, but 70 other teams were, including Jim Rossiter. Well, Jim's got the car finally on the track. Jim, the first day out with the new car, how do you feel about this now?
Well, pretty good. It feels a little different than street stock does, but it's hooking up pretty good right now, and so far we're turning pretty fast laps for what we think anyways, and it's working pretty good, so we're happy.
I overheard a conversation between yourself and Brent Sullivan and one of the other guys regarding the braking. Can you tell us about the braking on this car?
Well, the braking's probably about 3 times better than the street stocks are. And the street stocks, you go in the corner, it feels like you have nothing. This thing, you go in, you step on the brakes, and it just stops on a dime, so it's just hard getting used to the brakes.
Overall, you're a happy guy?
Yeah, the car's working good. Nothing's broken yet, so we're really happy.
All right.
Thanks very much.
See the smile on that guy's face? Well, the Formula 1200 competitors from the CASC Ontario Region Road Racing Series were also on hand to try out turning left only. They may be at the Speedway a couple times this year. Now, what do they think? Check this out. Well, out here on practice day today, David Watson and the rest of the Formula 1200 cars are giving the Mosport International Speedway a try. They usually run over at the road course, but they're interested in trying an oval. Now, a couple years ago, they were at Flamborough Speedway, but this being a little bit of a larger track, they wanted to come out and give it a try. So we're going to talk to a couple of the guys after they come off the track. A lot of the 1200 guys come from Toronto and west of Toronto, but there's a local guy running the Formula 1200. It's Pete Lunny in the number 95 car. You know, first of all, this car to me looks like the old John Player Special colors.
Yeah, we kind of copied them a bit. Something different.
Now, you've been out here for the whole day now testing this. What do you think about the oval track?
I love it. Had to learn a lot all of a sudden, very quickly, but it's a lot of fun, and there's not a lot of places you can relax, or you're always into a corner.
Do you notice the walls around you versus the road course? Are you apprehensive at all about that?
Very much. Being the first day, the fourth corner over here, that wall comes really quick.
Now tell us about the way you guys are going to run if you run here. I know that on the road course, you could be leading one lap, and then the next lap, you're back in 6th place. The Formula 1200s are so competitive. Do you expect the same kind of thing to happen here at the Speedway?
No, I don't. It seems it takes approximately 2 laps to get right behind the guy to set him up for a pass, and then about 2 laps to get by him. He's with you. Before you could just drop by them. That won't be the case anymore.
You looking at coming here?
Oh, we'd love to. Twice this season, I hope.
All right. Well, all the best if you do make it here, and we'll see you over at the road course as well. All the best there.
Thank you very much.
One of the regular Formula 1200 competitors, David Watson. You're out here at Mosport, a little bit different for you. You're only turning left, but how do you like it?
It's a thrill. It's quite addictive, actually. You do just turn left, and we're used to turning right and left, but it's just fun. It's easier, actually, than a road course, but it's just concentration, and you've got to, it's hard to describe it, but you just grit your teeth and go for it.
But you guys are just out here practicing today, getting a feel for the track, thinking about running a couple races this summer at the Speedway. Any more thought on that? Does it look like you guys want to come back after all you've been through here today, and it looks pretty good?
We came today to find out whether our cars were capable with the gearing so that we didn't have to change transmissions between weekends. But I think so. Everybody seems really happy with it, actually.
All right, so the region racing starts up very soon, and then it's on to a couple oval track races, perhaps.
That's correct. Next weekend we start a park race at Mosport, and then we'll be looking forward to the ovals.
All right, well, we hope to see you out here.
Thank you.
David Watson with the 1200 Association. The rest of the guys are pretty happy about it, so it looks like Moseport International Speedway will see some open wheel racing besides the modifieds this year. And they've committed to having 15 cars at the track. Should be some awesome racing. Dan Robinson was one of the hottest Thundercar drivers in '94, and it looks as though he's about ready to pick up where he left off. Semi-green, semi-gray, but getting ready for another season. I guess before the start of the points, this will be all green.
Yes, it certainly will. I just left the gray on it today in case somebody wanted to scratch me. There's no use doing the final painting until a couple days before the big race.
Dan Robinson, one of the competitors from last year in Thundercars, there was a rookie but came on real strong, won some races. And your thoughts about coming into this year? You must be pretty excited, this being your second year now.
Yeah, I really am. I hope that my motor doesn't let go on me right at the beginning of the season again. And if I just want to keep really consistent, and we'll just sort of feel it out. That's about all I really have to say about that.
We had the clock on you during this practice, and you looked like you were pretty quick out there.
Yeah, and I was surprised because by the first 5 laps, it was really just didn't feel right, and then everything started to come together. And those times, they're good, and I mean you can't complain about them. And there seems to be about three or four cars out there that are all pretty well the same speed, and we're all pretty consistent, so it should be fun.
For those of you that remember Moseport International Speedway Thunder from last year, Dan was on his way to perhaps a 4th or 5th in points and perhaps Rookie of the Year, and then a little bit of a problem in the last race during tech with the shock absorbers. I guess that was really disheartening for a while. I guess you're okay to talk about it now?
Well, actually, to be honest with you, it still bothers me, but there's nothing I can do about it, and I guess you're going to have to be water under the bridge.
Can you give us our story on the whole situation, or your story on the whole situation?
Well, I guess it was because somebody protested saying that I was running illegal shocks. I mean, there was other cars out there that were running them, and there was guys that even came forward and said they were running them. So I assumed that they were legal. I didn't paint them black, so.
But that's all been taken care of. The rules been ironed out for this year.
Supposedly. We'll see.
Well, we look forward to the season, Dan. I'm sure that you're going to be right up front and visiting us a few times on Moseport International Speedway Thunder with a checkered flag in hand.
I hope so. It'll be fun.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Okay, thanks a lot.
A driver and car turning heads on practice day, also from the Thunder cars. Here he is. Fast times for the Thunder cars, so they've been going on with the tech right now, so we'll go in and see what's going on and see who this new guy is.
Hi, guys.
How are you doing?
Good.
You've got an interesting paint job on the car, and you got a lot of stuff going on behind here. What do you say is the problem?
There's no problem. I wanted to be teched to make sure that the compression ratio of the motor was legal, and so forth, because if I'm out here racing, I'm going to race here every Saturday night, and if I win a feature, I want to be able to keep it.
You've been turning some fast times on the track, and I think some people have been talking about that. Who's this 3 car?
My name's Ken Donaldson. I raced back in the early 80s, mid 80s. I've helped a few guys. I've been around stock car fan all my life. A guy by the name of John Miracle helped me back in 81 when I started. And I watched her a little bit last summer and built the car and came out.
Well, it looks pretty good on the track, and I'll tell you, it also looks pretty good in the pit. That's a nice paint job.
Thanks very much.
Tell us a little bit about what prompted you to put all the cartoon characters on there.
Well, stock car racing for me is fun. I mean, when I come out to go racing, I like to have fun, and I realize it's a highly competitive sport, and everybody wants to win. And usually the top 5 or 6 cars, those guys get picked on if they're not legal. And if they're legal, everything goes fine. I'm just a big kid. I got a 13 and a 14-year-old boy that helped me on my crew with my wife, who's actually my best friend. I'm a big kid. I love cartoons. There's not one store out here with that many cartoons on it, and I wanted to do something different just to have fun. I got a friend that is a bit of an airbrush wizard, as you can see, and he does good. He thinks he put my picture on my hood.
Well, I don't think there's going to be too many kids that aren't a fan of your car. I think you're going to have every kid in the grandstand liking your car, that's for sure.
Well, hopefully I can win a feature or two for them and have a lot of fun.
All right, all the best.
Thank you.
And I hope this tech goes good for you.
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
All right, way to go then, and we look forward to seeing you. It's been fast on the track today.
Thank you. Watch your step.
Worked up a sweat yet? You can take that driver's suit off soon. We're almost done. What's on May 13th, 14th weekend? Plenty of action at Mosport. The British Automobile Racing Club hosts the Grand Prix of Ontario at Mosport Park, the road course. Included is round 1 of the Valvoline Touring Car Championship. Fantastic regional racing to be seen, so go check it out and mark your spot for next weekend's SCCA Trans Am Invasion. Saturday, May 13th, Mosport International Speedway opened their doors for racing. The green flag waves at 6:30 p.m. The drivers are going for cash. The season points will be awarded starting May 22nd. Formula One is back in action May 14th at the Spanish Grand Prix. Pole day for the Indy 500 is May 13th. Day 2 of qualifying is the 14th. And we also have some broadcast times for you. May 13th on CTV Live from 12 p.m. to 2:30, and May 14th on TSN from 12:30 p.m. live. The SCCA Trans Am World Challenge, U.S. Formula Ford 2000, SO Protect, F1600s, Canadian Enduro Series, and motorcycles. Fill the paddock at Mosport Park, May 19th to 22nd. Next week on Pit Stop, we'll have 5 interviews from top Trans Am drivers, including Ron Fellows, recapping the Grand Prix of Ontario, recapping also the Mosport International Speedway opener, and we'll continue on with Darrell Leatherdale's modified build-up, and much, much more. Now, before we leave you tonight, the significance of May 8th is heartfelt around the world. It's VE Day. As racing enthusiasts, let us also remember that it was on May 8th, 1982, that Canada lost our greatest racing legend. Gilles Villeneuve succumbed to injuries sustained during the final qualifying session in Zolder, Belgium on May 8th, 1982. We can be proud of Gilles' accomplishments. In Europe, he is thought of as a hero and is forever remembered. I'm sure Gilles has a smile on his face, being proud of the accomplishments of his son. Jacques Villeneuve is a top IndyCar driver and sought after by Ferrari and others for their F1 cockpit. So let us note the actions of the European racing fraternity and remember Gilles Villeneuve forever. Until next week, I'm Glenn Butt. Thanks for sharing the ride this half hour, and see you at the track, definitely back here on Pit Stop.